Hi, everyone. I'm Elizabeth Cantey, and this is another episode of Living Enlightened Every Day. And today we're talking about the good, the bad, and the enlightened. What's the difference? Let's find out. Tabasco is going to give us all his insights. So stay tuned. So today we're exploring the good, the bad, and the enlightened. And what that really means, it's a chapter in my book, and we're talking about judgments, attachments, reactions, and resistance. I call that the jar. It's when we are judging things as good or bad, right or wrong. It's when we make a decision about what is happening other than being present with what is happening. Why do we do that? Let's explore. I invite you to listen with an open heart and find out what is in this for you that can change your life. It wasn't that long ago when I was in my other house and it was a huge storm, a big Florida thunderstorm, lightning, the sounds, the thunder. It was pretty amazing. It was very, very dark outside. And I was by my front door and I could see this big, beautiful lake that was across the street. And I saw the most incredible lightning strike right through the window panes. And it was magnificent. It was amazing. I mean, the hair stood up on my arms. It it was mesmerizing. The power of nature, the sound, the noise, and it lit everything up. And it was just etched in my mind like a photograph. The lightning and the palm trees and the swamp and the lake. And it brought back immediately this memory of when I lived in West Hollywood, and in my backyard was this huge sago palm. And I was looking out that window, and in California, Southern California, there was a huge storm, very unusual, and a lightning bolt hit that sago palm and it caught fire. And there were electric lines right above it, and it was very close to my house, close to the neighbor's house. Called the fire department. And it was crazy. Everything blew out in my apartment, like every you know uh, receptacle, smoke was coming out of it. The computer's gone, the TVs are gone, everything's blown up. It was one of those things. It's amazing when I was staring at it, and it was a couple hundred yards away. It was beauty, right? Beautiful, amazing, mesmerizing. Like, I feel blessed that I got to see something like that. It was so incredible. And yet, when it was in my backyard and blew out all my receptacles and my computer and my TV and everything else, it was horrible. The same event, lightning. What's the difference? There isn't one. There's no difference. There is no difference between lightning striking in your backyard or lightning striking across the street. Lightning is just being lightning. It's not out to get you. It wasn't out to get me. It was just doing its thing, right? But we put so much attachment to meaning. We assign meaning to all of these things. It's terrible. This is horrible. This is awesome. This is wonderful. And all of that, we're just going to look at it a little bit. All of those things take us out of the actual moment, being present in our true nature, which is love and joy and peace and harmony. We are actually in harmony with nature around us if we just allow ourselves to be still and listen. We're guided from within to be harmonious with whatever is taking place around us. It is the ego that is judging things as good, bad, right or wrong, good for me or bad for me, or something I want to participate in or something I want to run from. But what's better than using the ego to discern for us our highest self, our true nature? The ego can only take in, the finite mind is processing based on what it has already known. What we want to do is be present with all that there is. And in that way, we can be informed as to what we should do. When we sense that life isn't out to get us, that life is living itself, then we get to be in awe of all of it. And we discern when we need to from source, from our highest self, without the judgments and attachments and reactions and resistance. We become present with what is, and we allow ourselves to be informed from our highest self for anything that it is we need to do. We will be informed not based on our past experiences, but based on spirit guiding and directing us. When we move our little selves out of the way, it's pretty amazing the information, the insight, and the intuition that flows forth from us, from within, from that still place. But when we pile on judgments and we pile on our attachments and our reactions, we're resisting what is. It's very hard to discern that voice. It's very hard, and it's impossible to be present with what is when we're caught in the conditioning of the past, which is projecting a judgment, right? Habitual thoughts and thought patterns from previous beliefs. When we're in judgment, we are no longer in spirit. We can't be in two places at the same time. The finite mind is working, it's running, it's commenting, it's judging, or we're just in acceptance, we're in presence, we're being. And and when I say being, I don't mean that we're not doing anything, our eyes aren't closed and we're imagining what's happening around us. No, we can be involved in a storm, moving things out of the way, shutting shutters or windows closed. There's things to do, but there's a stillness, an ease, and a grace through which we do those things. So in our doing is being. We're being very, I would say that the mind is still and the body is moving gracefully, doing whatever it is being called to do, rather than that frantic reacting that sometimes we find ourselves in, the running around that never seems to get things done for me anyway. So when we're labeling things as good or bad, right or wrong, we're enabling these old thought patterns. The only thing we know in our finite mind is what has already happened. We are limiting ourselves to our past and the only things we can remember of our past. We're not even open to all of our past. We're just open to the thought patterns that we have created about the events in our past. So what we're talking about is stepping into this space of being in acceptance of what is. Why not? It's what is. It's what's happening, whether we want it to happen or not. We can expend a lot of energy wishing, wanting, you know, praying, doing all these things that it doesn't happen, but it's right there. It's happening. So, a lot this week has come up for me around judgments. And I think sometimes of, you know, you're sitting in a meeting or you're talking to someone on the phone, and it could be a family member or your boss or an employee, and your mind just starts judging. Oh, they're going to say that. Oh, they're going to go do this again. Oh, they're going to ask me for a raise. Oh, they're going to complain about the blah blah blah, whatever it is. Our mind is already judging because it thinks it is doing us a favor by compartmentalizing conversations, events, situations. And when we are in that pattern, we're not in the conversation or the situation. We're not in it, we're not present. So, our job in really integrating spirit, mind, and body, and the health benefits to being integrated in spirit, mind, and body are immense. We When we are informed by spirit, when we are present with what is happening, our blood pressure is great. Our our brain and heart are in sync with each other. We are vibrating at a higher frequency. We are calm and we are so intuitive. So when the ego is talking, we're not present. When someone else is talking and we're listening to our ego, we can't be listening to them. Right? That makes sense, right? When we're just waiting for them to stop talking so we can say what we already know we're already going to say. We are reliving a pattern, and that chatter that's in our mind is cutting us off from spirit. So judgments are going to be right, wrong, good, bad, the same. They're going to say the same thing. All of these judgments that we do, and it's even for ourselves. We judge ourselves all the time. We judge the situation, we judge the people. Um, so we want to stay out of judgments. We'll get more into that. The second term I like to use is attachments. So many times we find ourselves attached to situations. Of course, we get attached to our jobs. We get attached to what we're doing. We get attached to the way we express ourselves. We get attached to our relationships. And we get attached to our home. We don't want to move. We don't want to change anything. We get attached to our rooms, the way they're set up. We get attached to a lot of things. And many times we can get attached to our youth. We get attached to what's in our bank account or a savings account. And when we are attached to our looks, we're going to be disappointed when they change. And guess what? They're going to change. This is not the same body I was in 10 years ago or 20 years ago or 30 years ago. In Buddhism, there's a saying that when you are attached to something, only one of two things can happen. Either it goes or you go. And what they mean is it's going to change, disappear, die, move away, or you will. And so instead of being attached, what can we do? Our children grow up and they don't need us anymore. They've become independent adults. If we stay attached to our relationship the way we think it always should be, we are going to be incredibly disappointed. Same with our parents. We get attached to how they are. They're our parents. They're older than we. They've taken care of us, and now they're getting older. We have to be fluid with the changes that are happening, not attached. And there's a wonderful saying, high involvement, low attachment. Stay involved, do what we can do, but let go of how we think our input should be rewarded, right? So if we're up for a job promotion and we just think that everything we're doing is attached to this job promotion and we don't get the promotion, but we've done everything we think we can do to get that. We can spend so much time in anger, resentment. It can ruin our relationships, our other relationships that we're having, not just at work. It can ruin that feeling that we had about our job, that we loved our job, and now we can't stand it because we didn't get this promotion. But instead of being attached to the promotion, we could have been so involved in everything we needed to do in order to prepare ourselves, to better ourselves, to be involved in everything we needed to do for this promotion. And then when we didn't get it, if we were passed up or overlooked, we can be with that, understand why it happened. We need to talk to the people who were in charge of that. What were we missing? What did they think was missing? And after we gather the information, there's no heart rate rising, there's no blood pressure, there's no anger or resentment. There's just gathering information. And then, if we're in that place of peace and power, then there's discernment, guidance, and direction from within of what there is to do next. Do we stay in this place and and move towards uh, another promotion or whatever makes us feel good in this place? Do we look for another opportunity to be supported in a different environment? We will be guided and directed, but what we skip the anger and the resentments and the reactions and the sometimes the burning of bridges that can happen in some of these big events. They happen with our children as they grow up, or other family members. We can not be attached to the result, but we can put in the effort that we are called to put in. And that's such a good feeling to know you did everything you could. We get to feel good about ourselves. And like I said, then take in the information and discern what is next. And the next, so that's judgments, attachments, reactions. One of my favorites. This is part of judgments too, but when we're talking to someone and you just react, like things come out of your mouth and later you look back and you go, what was I thinking? Why would I say that out loud? Why wouldn't I let them finish their sentence or finish the, project or whatever it was? But I stormed out, or I did this, I did that. We weren't thinking. We weren't thinking. We were allowing the past conditioning to be so overwhelming that it created the emotion that made us speak in anger or abruptly or leave or whatever the action is that we took. We are reacting. You know what that means? Reacting. We're acting again. It means we're acting on something that is conditioned us from our past. We're thinking this person always does this, and so I'm going to assume they're always going to do it. Or this situation always upsets me, so I'm going to get upset. Why? Why do we put that on ourselves? And the easy answer, I get it, is because I am conditioned by my past. But when we let it go, man, my shoulders drop, everything drops. When we let it go and we're with whoever we're with in the present moment. So one of my definitions of living enlightened is being right where you are, doing exactly what you are doing, being with whoever you are with, and seeing the good in it, seeing the harmony in it, because this is what is happening right here, right now. So we're being with it. But if we're in reaction, we are acting from our past conditioning. And in my case, it's never gone well. It's just never gone well. I can tell you. But we go back to responding. We can be with what was said, having our heart centered listening and someone's presenting something to us that we agree with or don't disagree with, that we have to think about or contemplate, that we have to get more information about, we're being with it and we're allowing ourselves to say, I don't know right now, or I'll have to think about that, or we do know and we know that we know, and we can say with power and clarity and acceptance, this is how I feel about that. This is what I think about that, or this is what I know about that. And you create room and space for a dialogue, for an answer or a resolve to come around this situation instead of reacting to it. So we respond. And so that's judgments, attachments, reactions. And then I have another R, and it's resistance. And all of these for me are a form of resistance. But because they're all a little different, I do like to point them out, because for me in my life, these are the ones that have come up. It's judgments, or I'm attached to something the way it is, or I'm reacting so quickly. And then I just think, why did I do that? Why would I put myself in that position, or them, this other person, in that position? But, I have this quote, Sri Sri Ravi Shankar said, nothing in the world can bother you as much as your own mind. In fact, others seem to be bothering you, but it's not others. It's your own mind. That is so perfect, because all of those that I've mentioned so far are a form of resistance. It's the mind that is resisting what is. And when we push against what is in our life, we're creating more of that. There's the wonderful saying, what we resist persists. Why is that? Because we're pushing against life itself. Life is saying, I'm here, and we're saying, nope, none of that, please. No, thank you. I'm not agreeing to that. It's life, and we're just here. Life is going to keep doing life. And when we accept that and we become present with life, that symbiotic relationship of life living itself in, through, and as us, now it's living in, through, and as us, and being released into the situation, and the situation is informing us, and we are informing the situation, and there is flow and harmony and health. We are integrating spirit, mind, and body. Mind is relaxed. It is in the background, ready to be called upon to analyze or think about or compare something important that we might need to know. But it is waiting and resting. It's taking a break in the back seat, but spirit is aligned. We are accepting what is right in front of us. So we stop resisting what is. We become present with what is. And now we can be informed and informing what is in this beautiful flow. Ernest Holmes said something that changed my life many, many, many years ago. He said, always be for something, but against nothing. So in other words, we can be for love, but we're not against anything that shows up as what our mind would judge as not loving. So now we're going to be loving, kind, respectful, all these qualities that we might attach to the word love. We're going to be, the embodiment of love. But if something is coming to us that doesn't feel like love, we're not judging, we're not pushing away, and we're not resisting. We're standing in love and being the presence of love and allowing this love to inform whatever that is coming. And now the situation changes in love. That makes sense, right? Because when we push against that, when we spew out hate, fear, anger, resentment, jealousy, all these things, we're creating that reaction. We're not in harmony. We're not in flow. We're not in love. So being for something and against nothing, that changed everything for me. That changed everything when I could see these judgments coming up that were little things. We judge whether we want it to rain or not. Why? It's raining or it's not raining. There's nothing we can do about it. You know, we judge whether our car is going to break down or not. This is a terrible thing. My car broke down. There is nothing on a car that is meant to last forever. I don't care if it's brand new. Things are pieces of equipment that rub and vibrate and break and rust and do all the things that they're going to do, and they do it when they do it, and we can't know when it's going to happen. So just be with it. Just be with it. Being with it is so much more fun than being against it. And even when it's not fun, even when it's sickness or health issues, we can be in that place of accepting this is right here, right now. And I am love. And the power and the presence of love is healing. And I can be informed by love. So it works for absolutely everything. Staying out of the jar, judgments, attachments, reactions, resistance. So what are we in? Right? Well, I mentioned the enlightened is being right where you are, doing exactly what you're doing, being with whoever you are with, and seeing, sensing the wholeness and the harmony within that situation or relationship or whatever's happening right now. We're present in the present moment. We call that the enlightened. Enlightenment is being with, being in, being as. And it's acceptance. So Eckhart Tolle has this quote. He says, accept the present moment as if you had chosen it. As if you had chosen it. If we accept it as if we had chosen it, whether we think we chose it or not, if we accept it, then we can be in it and be informed by it. And again, we're for something: love, peace, joy, harmony, flow, light. We can be in it and not be against it. There is within us our highest self, discerning what it is we need to do with the information that is presenting itself as life all around us. When we are one in life, then we understand the nature of what it is that we are called to do, how we are to be in this situation. And it is not only empowering, so there's that sense of being empowered, but it is healing. So instead of being reacting and angry and all the things that lower our vibration and raise our cortisol and our blood pressure and all those things, we're actually healing regardless of what is showing up in our life. So we say yes and completely accept the present moment. What does it feel like to let go of judgments, attachments, reactions, and resistance? It feels like that big, open, spacious sky. It feels like anything and everything could happen. And I, myself, could be in harmony with it. The clouds come and go, the storms come and go. And we know they're going to come and we know they're going to go. That's the nature of the temporal world. So when we learn to accept what is instead of labeling it or pushing it away or denying it or resisting, we are not caught up in the rantings and the chatter of the ego mind. We're living enlightened. And when we think of that, even the word enlightened, light, there's a lightness of being, where there is something so much more powerful within us than anything that is presenting itself from without. So that is the power of staying out of the jar. And when we are in that jar, we're making things personal, like life is out to get us. Have you ever felt that way? There are times in my life I just thought, you gotta be kidding me. Like, how is life doing this to me? It was so personal. But when we are in harmony, those questions, those egoic questions, they never come up. As a matter of fact, what comes up is, oh, this is what I can learn from this situation. Oh, this is what I got from this situation. Oh, this is how I can help this person or be involved with this group or hang out with these people. This is how I can live my life without fear and in love. In other words, everything that comes to us in enlightenment is a gift. It's a gift, it's an opportunity, it's a blessing. Now that's incredible. That's an incredible way to live. It's exciting, uplifting. And it doesn't mean every single moment, but it does mean a lot. It means a lot of the time. And it means whenever, for me, whenever I get caught up in a judgment or attachments, reactions, it's so much less damaging, physically, emotionally. I can get back, I can breathe and catch myself so much quicker. I heard someone say that they asked someone enlightened if they got angry, and they said, yes, of course. There's still judgments, there's still attachments, there's still reactions, but it's like riding on water. In other words, by the time you trace out, anger in the water, it's gone. As the second you put your fingers through it, it's gone. So it's there and it's gone. It's gone in a breath, in a moment. That's healing and wholeness and joy and harmony. Ah, yeah, that's been coming up a lot. What is judgments? And it's a form for me of resistance because we wish the present moment were different than what it is. And whenever we find ourselves in, a judgment or an attachment, wishing that something were different than what it is. I wish it wasn't raining. I wish I had money to pay for this thing that I don't have. Why be in resistance of something that already has happened? Be in peace, be in harmony, and allow that to inform what we do next. And even more importantly, who we are. It informs who we are being. We are being the presence and the power of love, of peace, of joy, and of abundant supply. So I invite you this week to take some notes of when you're in judgment or attachment or reaction or any form of resistance. Just take some notes on your phone or in a little notepad that you can carry around and just write down the times that you're in judgments and see what is triggering that. And see if you can recognize patterns or ideas from past conditioning and love them. Love that they are showing up for you and love that you can be aware, conscious enough to observe when they're coming up. That means you can let them go. If you're not aware of them, they're very hard to let go. But when we become aware, whenever I'm around my family, whenever it's a big holiday, whenever my boss comes to town, whenever I find myself getting this way, that way, the other way. Remind yourself you don't have to do that anymore. We can be the power and the presence of love. We can substitute any word, any God quality, spirit quality for love. We can say, I can be in peace. I can be in harmony. I can be in my power. I can be in my authentic expression. I can be in my creative expression. All of these things, we pick the words that inspire us to be present in those times that are hard for us to be present in. And now we have a way to discern what those times might be. What is the hardest time for you to be present in your authentic expression? And then becoming aware of that and knowing that you can be for your highest expression without resisting or being against anything that shows up in life. If you liked this, please hit the like button and the subscribe button and share it with a friend. Maybe they're ready to discern between the good, the bad, and the enlightened. I invite you to love, laugh, and live enlightened all week long. And I'll see you next week.
Thanks for watching. Join us again next Tuesday at 7 a.m. Mountain Time for Living Enlightened with Elizabeth Cantey. Integrating your spirit, mind, and body. Learn more at www.ntmedia.org.